May 22nd, 2022 Rotoball Patch Compound. Good bit of stuff has happened since our last video about a week ago. We're going to jump right into it with the stop sign patch. Standing at the bottom of the key here on the stop sign patch, you can see that the clones are starting to root in pretty nicely. Got some good collar towards the tips. Some of the old foliage looks like Jacob's plants, but they're doing all right. The original clone just getting bushier. There is a little tiny mane that's trying to start on it, but I still don't think it's going to end up taking the spot of either of these. I originally thought that Clone C, this guy, would be our winner chicken dinner, but I think Clone B is rooted in better and looks like her growing tip's just a little bit more strong, so that might be the gal. I put about a third of a quart of fish 511 just all over the patch, just soaked it in, and it'll be available for the plants once they get there. The big thing going on down here, their main patch, is we've run a tiller on the top half, and I haven't got in there and leveled the soil out yet, so you can still see the till marks, and that was really just kind of knocked back down the weeds a little bit. When it was freshly tilled, I did put the other 2/3 of fish in about 200 gallons of water and sprayed it on the soil, and that fish will be available for these plants once they get there. The 1965.5 Rotoball wind fence has been extended. The main vine, I've started burying some areas, and we have a few little buried areas on secondaries, and I'm training my secondaries back the best I can. Leaves are cupped up nicely. These older leaves have a good root system. We're draped towards the front a little bit as they're growing. Of course, I keep my tips fully shaded all season, right up until you really don't need to. The fruit's set in 30 or 40 days, and I stop shading anything. But I let those tables run, and those tables will be over top of a setting fruit as well. This area has been weeded by hand, by the way. I did not get in here with a tiller. Got in here by hand, really close to the plant, pulled weeds. A little further away, I use a small handheld hoop hoe. Our 1992.5 Pierpont, pretty much same song and dance. I've extended our wind fence quite a bit. Did a fair bit of hand weeding around the plant on the internals and hula hoed on the outside. I extended this wind fence 2 days ago, and we're almost getting ready to knock at the door again on the tip. I should have already had my wind fence around the perimeter of the patch. If that was the case, we would not have wind fences on these plants, but trying something different this year. I've ordered a product similar to what Scott Baywatch has around his patch, and I'm just waiting for the good folks at Amazon to get that to my door. You can see underneath the plant, I have some areas that are buried on the main vine, and a few little side vine areas are buried, trying to get those roots settled in and started in. Right where my stump comes directly out of the ground, there's good free airflow. I don't bury those nodes. And my burying mix, as you can see, does not look like my soil. On the main, I bury with a mixture of a leaf compost and just a little touch of sand. Sand's something new this year I've picked up off of my buddy Scott Baywatch. That's something he's trying, and I don't know if he's done it in the past or he's trying it this year exclusively, but he seems to like the results with us thus far and just overall drainage. So I'm gonna stick with it. I think it's a good idea. I'm curving our secondaries, this guy, I'm trying to bring them back. I'm gonna have that waterfall towards the back, and once we get a little bit further down the plant, then we'll start falling them forward. I'm pleased with our growth. The main vine's giving me 6 to 8 inches a day now, which is just on fire. Vine bearing season's gonna hit hard and hit real soon, and there's going to be some serious man-hours going to have to come out here and take place. Here at the tomato box, I'm getting ready to do a heavy drench. You look on the ground, you see this brown slurry ringed around each plant. That works out to a full quart of Alaska fish fertilizer, pure, straight, dumped on the soil. And if you don't water it in, it'll stink to high heavens. It's going to stink to high heavens regardless. But watering it in, and it'll slowly push itself through the soil over the next few weeks. This stuff is not readily available, most of it, nitrogen-wise. So it doesn't hurt to dump it on the ground. I think you could dump this on your plants and it probably wouldn't burn your plants. Don't advise that, but this is what I do. May not work for you, works fine for me. The 8.36 Stricklers are really starting to take off. I did a full quart of 511 fish at the base of these plants in this box, and that seems like a lot. And I just put it on straight and water it in. The plants seem to like it. This gal right here is a monster. I haven't really trimmed a whole lot yet. I'm letting that first stage of growth happen and keeping an eye on disease, and I really don't have any disease yet. My volunteers down here are something else. Those are off of probably the gross plant or pork chop plant that I had last season. I'll be picking those little guys out of there. Pretty tickled with my tomatoes. Should have a nice one come time for the state fair. Standing on the patio beside the house, we have another 8.365 Strickler plant going. Nice little tomato plant. Needs a proper stake, not just a bamboo dowel propped up against it. Little pepper plant RC Cook gave me. Thank you, my friend. Looking good so far. And we have a 1965.5 Rotaball pumpkin plant that I'm going to let fill up this patio area and see if we can get a nice porch pumpkin for the state fair. Win that first place $65. Yeah, baby. So in general, I believe over the past week and a half since the last video, plants have put on some excellent growth. Foliage vines are starting to really pop out, getting good secondary development. Had to adjust the wind fence one good time, and I feel like I'm gonna have to adjust it again, kind of waiting on a more permanent solution to come through the post office to me. My weed situation down low isn't that bad. It looks terrible, but it could be a heck of a lot worse if it hadn't been as dry as what it's been. I think the proper thing at this juncture, looking forward, is for me to get out there and do a hula hoe on all the soil that has been tilled and just kind of stir it up and flatten it out, put on my special dance shoes that I have for the patch, clean it up and get it nice. I'd say the next video go around, we're going to see plants probably double this size, even though there's a little cold spell. These things are really kicking booty, and they're going to continue to do it. Keep the wind agreeable and stagnant, or at least low, and these plants will hold up nicely. I'd like to have that wind fence for that next video too. Anyway, guys, always appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, comments, or thoughts, hit me up. Otherwise, growing big. Doc out.